Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This week, the date is the 22nd of May. This week, Jewish congregations throughout the world will be reading from Parashat Bamidbar, or the beginning of the book of Numbers. And when we look at the beginning of the book of Numbers, the first two verses say the following. The Lord spoke to Moses in the tent of meeting in the desert of Sinai on the first day of the second month of the second year after the Israelites came out of Egypt. By the way, they are still, according to tradition, near Mount Sinai. He said to them, God said to Moses, take a census of the whole Israelite community by their clans and families, listing every person by name, one by one. And then from there, it goes into a whole list of every tribe and the whole list of the 12 tribes of Israel. And when you read it, it just seems to go on and on and on and on. And eventually, you get to the point where you feel, my God, this is numbing. It is numbing to read that. But I want you to understand, it's not only the numbers that are recorded, but Moses is told to record the people name by name. And I think that idea of that numbers can be numbing is so incredibly important to us at this particular time, because our numbers right now are numbing. The numbers of people that have COVID-19 are absolutely numbing. Probably this week, more than 100,000 Americans will have died from COVID-19. Of course, the number in the world is even greater, and now there's a real concern that in poorer countries, the healthcare systems are collapsing, there's lack of testing, and will we ever know what those numbers are? But there's another aspect of the numbers that are numbing too, and that was a report that came out from Columbia University this week that said that had we started social distancing a week earlier, just 1 week earlier than we did, it's possible that 36,000, this is a mathematical calculation, 36,000 people, 36,000 Americans would have been saved. 36,000 Americans would still be alive. So let's go back to the text, because the text also tells us something very interesting. The medieval Jewish commentator, Rashi, says the following. He says, why did God, he's answering the question, why did God feel it so important to take this census? And his answer, according to Rashi, is because the people were dear to him, and therefore he counted them frequently. When they left Egypt, he counted them. When many fell ill because of the sins of the golden calf, he counted them. He counted them to know the number of survivors of the golden calf debacle. And when he came to cause his divine presence to rest upon them, he counted them again. And on the first of the Hebrew month of Nisan, in the spring, when the Mishkan, the tabernacle, was erected, God counted them. And why did he count them? Because what Rashi, the commentator, is trying to say is that God counts the people because they are so dear to God. Everyone had to be counted, according to Rashi, at every single moment, and especially at every single moment of existence. So the numbers are numbing, and yet we make those numbers and we count those numbers to remind us that every single one of those people was a life and a world into himself or herself. Every number is a human life that has been lost, and every number is potentially numbing. In our congregation this week, we are remembering the sister-in-law of Samara Lee Bryant. Samara Lee's sister-in-law, Tanya Jarofsky, was 41 years old. She and her husband were workers in a nursing home which was struck by COVID-19. She was a nurse. Her husband Charles recovered from the virus, but she did not. I looked at her Facebook page. This was a young woman with her whole life ahead of her. But what struck me the most about Tanya Jarofsky was the fact that she wrote, "I cannot stay home. I am a healthcare worker." Zikrona Livracha, may her memory be a blessing. We remember her because we not only count her, but we name her as God told Moses to do more than 3,000 years ago. So it's my hope that on this Shabbat we will remember that numbers are important. They can be numbing, but that names are even more important, because every name represents a person beloved by God, a person with a family, a person who's part of a community, a person whose future was cut off way too early. So my dear friends, Shabbat Shalom to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and may God bless you with a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom.